Hi everybody, Rusty here once again for Motorsport Australia. 2020's been a tough year for a number of people, but it's fantastic to see that borders are starting to open and that many of you, both officials and competitors, are getting back to what you love doing, and that is competition. So on that note, we're delighted to talk to someone who's had arguably the year of his life, and the best may still be to come. FIA Formula 3 champion Oscar Piastri. That sounds really nice, doesn't it? Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rusty. Yep, it's definitely a pretty cool year. Very successful, and yeah, having that F3 championship next to my name definitely sounds pretty cool.
There's been a great reaction back home, Oscar, hasn't there? And it went, right down to the final race. It was a bit sort of nail-biting in some respects, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really good to have everyone's support. I think being from Melbourne, most people in the state didn't really have much better to do during the lockdown except for watch me, which was a little bit of a blessing, I guess. But yeah, pretty intense championship, 9 rounds in 11 weekends. So very fast and compact, and went down to the wire. Definitely got the heart racing, but I'm glad we could come out on top.
So are we. How aware of you, were you, I should say, of what was transpiring in that race? Because we were on the edge of our seats and we really didn't know until more or less the final lap, Oscar.
Yeah, I had a rough idea of what I needed to do to win the championship. Obviously, I was mainly focusing on Logan Sargeant. We were equal on points and he was starting, I think, 6 spots ahead of me. So my main focus was on him, and Pourchaire was kind of an outside chance. And then obviously I knew that he was out once the safety car came out. So that kind of relieved that bit of pressure. But then obviously Pourchaire had a very strong race getting to the podium. So I just had to keep it on the track, pick up a few people and finish where I ended up finishing, really.
The reaction to it, as we said before, has been huge. How noticeable has it been at your end? How has it changed things for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been very cool to have everyone's support. I think my profile in general's just exploded, really. I think on Instagram I've gained like 20,000 followers and about 10,000 on Twitter. So it's been very cool to soak up everyone's support. Very thankful for it. I think being on the F1 weekends has certainly helped raise my profile as well. So, yeah, it's been very cool, and hopefully I can gain a few more people's support in the years to come.
Yeah, we hope so. It's good that you mentioned a moment ago too about Logan Sargeant, because it's not the first time that the two of you you've kind of shared a similar pathway in some respects, and you rounded out the 2017 British F4 podium, for example. What's it been like to go toe-to-toe with him regularly, and how has that sort of helped?
I've raced against Logan, I think 3 out of the 4 years I've been in cars now. But this year was the first as teammates, so a little bit of a different dynamic, but we've known each other for about 5 years. So our relationship this year was good. He was a second-year driver in F3, so had a bit more experience. I was learning off him most weekends. And, it was just a good atmosphere. Like I said, we've been friends for about 5 years now. So, it's good working with him.
In addition to that, there's a good Aussie flavour in that Formula 3 paddock this year with 4 of you competing. I don't know how much time you get to spend with each other or catch up. At the end of the day, you're all racers and you want to win. But is it nice to think that we have so many Australians competing at that level?
Yeah, it was definitely cool to have 4 of us this year. I think we're one of the most represented countries on the grid. So, pretty cool to see that from a country so far away from the rest of Europe. Like you said, obviously I was racing against all of them. So my main goal was to try and beat them. It was nice to have a bit of Aussie slang thrown in there at lunchtime and dinner time. I think there'll probably be a couple of them on the grid again next year, which is great for Aussie motorsport. Great to see so many of us overseas at the moment.
For you on the CV, 2 fabulous titles in the relative recent past, Formula Renault Euro Cup champion, now F3 champion. Where do both titles stack up, Oscar, for you? And now that you have this international cred, if you like, how much did that help with paving the way for you earning a spot in the academy?
I think I'd probably rate the F3 title a bit higher. Obviously, it's a category up, and I think being on the F1 weekends, you kind of get a bit more recognition for it. So I'd probably rank that ahead of the Euro Cup title. But in saying that, obviously the Euro Cup title was my first title in cars, and that is what got me into the academy. So both important in their own right. Hopefully I can add another one next year, but both sound very good next to my name, and like I said, hopefully I can gain a few more.
We can tell from social media too that we're seeing a bit more of your personality come out, which we love. I think you said recently too in an interview that when Daniel Ricciardo announced his Renault departure, hey look, there's a spare seat available, and a win this year would kind of up your stocks. Now that seat may be taken, but do you think with everything that's transpired in recent weeks, how much has it boosted or helped your profile in that Formula One paddock?
Well, I think winning's never going to hurt you, so I think it's only done good. I'd like to think that my name's getting thrown around a bit more in some important people's mouths, but all I can really do is just focus on what I'm doing, focus on what I've got ahead, which will be F2 for next year, and then leave it up to the important people to see if they can get me into F1. Obviously, we've got Alonso back in the Renault car for next year and possibly the year after. So, just got to keep the pressure on, keep the results coming, and hopefully it opens a few doors at the top.
All the ingredients are there, which is terrific. Just to go back to an interview you actually did for us in June, you spoke then of your plan to climb up that single-seater tree and to achieve what you thought of, at the time was that slim chance of making it to F1. It's safe to say, Oscar, that it's going to plan, isn't it? And perhaps even better than you thought.
Yeah, I think if you had have told me at the start of this year if I'd won the championship, I would have said that was pretty optimistic. But ended up turning out that way, which was very handy. Obviously, got to drive an F1 car just last week, so that's another step closer to getting to F1. So. Yeah, I'd like to think that slim chance is becoming a little bit less slim. Obviously, still got to put in a lot of hard work from here to try and get there. But definitely sort of realising my dreams coming much closer to reality now.
I could see from your smile how much the test meant. So that's the natural flow of the discussion here, mate. Let's go there. Your dad said, I think on LinkedIn, 500 Ks, 85 laps. I could tell how chuffed he was. For a young guy that has dreamt of driving a Formula One car, what was that like?
Just awesome. Like, I knew basically once I won the championship, I knew that I would have a day in an F1 car. I didn't know specifically when it would be, but I knew that was on the cards. So I'd try and keep that quiet, which wasn't very easy. But the day was super cool. Very grateful to Renault for that opportunity. Obviously, you don't get to do it every day. Well, not yet anyway. Hopefully, the years to come, that becomes more regular. But, definitely very lucky to add to that small list of drivers that have driven an F1 car. But, it was awesome. I think I got used to it pretty quick. But, just the high-speed grip and in particular the braking. I think the top speed you get used to pretty quickly, but the acceleration when you get full engine mode, full battery deployment is pretty spectacular. But the braking, I think the first time I hit the brakes, my head nearly hit the steering wheel, which was took me a little bit to get used to, but it was just an awesome experience.
You're a very dedicated athlete. We know that. What did you do in the lead up to prepare yourself for that? Who are some of the people that you called on for advice? And that could be people within the team. That could be figures that have had experience in Formula One, like Daniel Ricciardo and Mark Webber or people like that. And what about even someone perhaps a little closer to your age bracket? Maybe did you get a chance to learn from like a Christian Lundgaard or exchange ideas with other people as well?
Yeah, so I spent pretty much the whole break from the end of my season to that F1 test just training in the Renault gym. So Renault have got a trainer there, Dave, who sort of trains all the academy boys. I had about a week off after the championship. Thought I just needed a little bit of downtime, but then after that was straight into it, making sure my head didn't fall off. I spoke to Mark about it. Obviously Mark had been in F1 for how many years? He was in F1, nearly 10, I think. He sort of told me what to expect and drilled into it to make sure I was ready. yeah, I also spoke to, like you said, Christian Lundgaard. He was in the car the day before me, so I was sort of there with the radio on, listening to what he was going through, and just asking, how is it? How tough is it? And he was pretty open and honest with me. And I think the most difficult thing was definitely the neck. It's just something that you can train for it as much as you want, but until you first jump in the car, you never know what to expect. So I put in a good amount of training. I won't say I wasn't a bit sore the next day, but I think I held on pretty well.
Has there been, in the congratulations that have no doubt filtered in from right around the world, predominantly Australia, obviously, has there been a couple that have surprised you? Maybe a couple of legends or people that you respect that reached out and said, "Hey, well done"?
Yeah, so I got some pretty cool text messages and Instagram messages after the race. I think I had a bit of a conversation with Daniel Ricciardo after the championship, which was nice. I think I got a message from Lando Norris as well, and a few other guys. So that was pretty cool to see. I still have hundreds of messages from people all over the world that I haven't been able to open yet. So sorry to anyone that I haven't thanked yet, but I had a lot of messages. But I think it was pretty well received everywhere. Got an email from the boss of Renault Group, and also from Cyril, the team manager, the team principal. Sorry. So, yeah, definitely felt I'd done something pretty cool when I got congratulations from those kind of people.
Great stuff, mate. You deserve every one of those accolades. Okay, a couple of questions to finish here. Firstly, simulators. They've become the hit thing of 2020 by necessity, I suppose. They've been around for a long time, obviously. They're never quite like the real thing. But how did driving on the weekend compare to your stint in the virtual F1 series earlier this year? I mean, there's top 5 finish in F1 and first in the F2 virtual race. Give us a bit of the comparo there.
I think compared to the virtual Grand Prix that I did at the beginning of the year, it's quite different. Obviously, the F1 game is a game more than an actual simulation, so it's not very realistic. But yeah, I play quite a lot of iRacing, which seems is a full blown simulator. So spent a lot of time in lockdown on that and having fun. A lot of those simulation, I don't want to say games, but those simulations are actually quite realistic these days. And I spent a day in the Renault F1 sim before Bahrain, which surprised me how accurate it was, to be honest. So yeah, good bit of preparation, but to be honest, the F1 GP and the F2 race was more just for fun rather than any actual learning. Righto, share with the audience, if you can, what's on the immediate radar and what is potentially, if you can tell us, what's the plans for 2021? Plans for next year are F2. I'll be on the grid just sorting out where at the moment. But yeah, it's all looking positive. Got a lot of good options on the table, so I'm excited for whatever next year might bring, and hopefully it's another successful year. Will you get home? Will you get a chance to? Obviously, you're there in England at the moment. There's lockdown Mark II and things like that happening there. But will you get a chance to get back to Aussie? Yeah, so we've got the F2 postseason test from December 8th to 10, and then a couple of days after that, I'll be able to get home. So I think I land on the 13th, which means unfortunately I'll have to spend Christmas Day in a hotel room, but should get out before New Year's and spend hopefully 3 or 4 weeks at home, which would be nice, because that's probably going to be the only trip I get home for the next, probably until this time next year. So definitely looking forward to getting home. Glad that you had a little bit of time after you got the title to sit back and celebrate and take it all in. Congratulations on everything that you've achieved this year, and the stage is set potentially for an even bigger 2021. So I hope that hotel quarantine isn't too tough, but no doubt it'll make you even stronger for a big year next season. Go get it, mate. Thanks, Rusty. Thanks for having me. That's awesome to chat with him. He's got some great personality too, doesn't he? So it's the ingredients, as we said, is all there for a great year. And hopefully that's a little bit of inspiration for some of you young Motorsport Australia licence holders too. Don't forget, for all the latest information on events that are happening near you, go to the website motorsport.org.au, and there is a fabulous new Motorsport Australia app now. Download it. You can have all your licence details in the palm of your hand. And we'll have another catch up with a star like Oscar real soon.